everyone. Welcome back to Future Fiber. This is your host Jenny, and this is a channel where I talk about all the crafty things that I do. It's mostly knitting. Welcome to podcast episode number 21. We are in a different location today. I probably should have filmed on another day, but I just didn't want to put it off anymore, and it's raining outside, and also the sun is down, so it's like dark. So if I'm going to be filming in a dark space, regardless of where I am in the house, I thought maybe I'll switch up the location a little bit, which turned out to be kind of a mistake because making this look a little bit more presentable took longer than probably actually it will take me to film. So that's unfortunate, but it is what it is. I tried to make it look a little bit more cozy vibes and less like a warehouse, a half-done Home Depot display like it usually is looking like up here. Today we have 3 finished objects, but I only finished 2. Wait. Today I have 3 finished objects, but I only have 1 with me. So we're going to have to, use our imagination a little bit. And that's because I finished my gift knits that I was doing, the 2 large ones that I was doing for my friends, and I already passed them off to their intended owner because I think realistically as an adult, you make plans like weeks in advance to see somebody, So I wasn't going to be able to give it to them in time unless I gave it to them at this Christmas party that I went to on Friday, which was the 8th of December. So I was crunched for time a little bit on there, but I made it work. I finished. So yeah, I took some pictures before I gave it to them. Literally, I finished like an hour before the party. So I had to quickly wrap them up and everything before I left the house, which was kind of a disaster, but everything worked out. It was all good. But I did say I had 3 finished objects, so I'm going to talk about the one that I do have on hand, which is this tree skirt. Well, it's kind of small for a tree skirt, and it looks more like a cape because I definitely did something wrong when I was following the pattern. Let me see if I can show it to you like this. I don't actually know which way's the right side and which way's the bad side. They look kind of the same, so I think it's okay. I follow the pattern of, it's a free pattern on Ravelry, but you can also purchase it, I believe, to get the ad-free version. But this is the Wreath tree skirt by Brianna K Designs, and it's free on Ravelry. It's a crochet pattern. And I followed it pretty loosely. I say loosely because I think I definitely misinterpreted the pattern, and I really should have, looked up YouTube tutorials before I started, but I kind of just went for it. And so the stitch pattern is definitely not correct, because it doesn't look the same as the picture. So take this with a grain of salt. But the bubble stitch, that kind of looks like a thick braid. I believe I did that one correctly. So I kept that. And then this is supposed to be like a half double crochet kind of thing. And I definitely screwed that up. So, but it turned out all right looking. And I finished it in a couple hours, an hour or 2 maybe. So I wasn't, striving for perfection. It was more of a, I needed it, so I did it kind of thing. And this just made me realize once again that I don't really love doing crochet because I just am really bad at it. And clearly I have no desire to get any better. My tension is all whack throughout this too. But the yarn that I used, I had on hand from when I was trying to knit a blanket back in, I think I've mentioned it very first or second podcast that I did. And this is Lions brand hometown Woolies Thick and Quick. Hometown. No. Lions brand hometown. Whatever that yarn is. The super bulky one, the acrylic one that's like you could get at any craft stores like Michael's or something. Yeah, this is that. I used one ball, but I believe the ball was larger than a standard like ball. So, and I followed the instructions for, this is in between a small and a medium for the crochet pattern that I used. So, yeah, that's how this turned out. The modifications that I made, it's honestly because I didn't know what I was doing. But after the popcorn bubble stitch or whatever, instead of following the stitch pattern that was intended by the pattern, I just did like a double crochet, I think, and like double crochet twice, and then repeated the bubble stitch and then did double crochet and then half double crochet, I guess, at the end here, and then just cast off. And I didn't do the increases correctly, which is probably why it's not like a flat circle, it's a cone. That's why it looks more like a cape, because like I definitely didn't do enough increases, so that's why it's got this like A-line cone shape. Yeah, but it's fine. I just put this part, the seam, to the back of the tree, and it looks fine. But I am sorry to the pattern designer that I did them a disservice with this terrible rendition of their pattern. But it serves its purpose, and I am okay with that. And I didn't even weave in the ends, nor did I put in any sort of closures, because I was just so sick of crocheting with that particular yarn, the Lions brand yarn. I am pretty sure I noticed this when I knit with it, like when I first started knitting, but it's very splitty, this particular hometown yarn. The 100% acrylic one especially, like you can see the twist in the yarn pretty clearly, and it's twisted very loosely, so it splits a lot. And I'm pretty sure I had the wrong hook size too, so that also didn't help. Yeah, I made everything harder for myself with this one, but you do with what you have. And that's actually going to be a running theme for this podcast, I think, like yarns that I don't really love knitting with. So that's the finished object that I do have on hand. Okay, let's talk about the other finished objects that I don't have with me. The first one was the zipper sweater by Petiteknit, and I knitted in Drops Alpaca Boucle, held single in the colorway like off-white, and then I put in that pink zipper. And I am pretty pleased with the final result. It's not exactly like I planned in my head, honestly. I think it came out looking a lot more feminine, for the lack of words. I say that because I think it's a combination of two things. First thing, the raglan increase for the sleeve, the shoulder, the yoke part. The original like Dior sweater that I had kind of based it off of was a regular like, you know, drop shoulder kind of design, which makes sense because it was designed for like the men's line. Not saying that like men's line can't have raglan shoulders, but I feel like for sweaters and stuff, having like a defined seam around the shoulder makes it a little bit more structured. So I just think it creates a more like boxy fit line. The zipper sweater does not have that. It's a raglan, so it falls like naturally from the shoulders. And I don't particularly have like super wide shoulders or super narrow shoulders, but I feel like whenever I wear raglans, it makes me look a little bit, my shoulders look a little bit smaller. So that's what number one. Number two is the color selection. The original is kind of like this like oatmeal-y, like dirty, not dirty. What's the right word? It's got a bit of gray in it, so it looks more like natural, like hard wearing a little bit, because it's a bit marled as well. The yarn that I chose, the off-white yarn, is like pretty pale, which was unexpected, but I liked it, so I ran with it. But I feel like that combined with the super bright poppy pink made it look a little bit more feminine than I intended. But I think it looked like classy enough. I think the hardware, I made the right choice not doing like plastic hardware for the zipper. The zipper itself was metal, but then just the zipper, like, what do you call that? Like the strip, the zipper strip or whatever, that was pink. So it gave it a little bit more, I don't know, made it look a little bit more high quality than you just using like a plastic pink zipper. So I think that was the right choice on my part. Another thing is that the fabric itself, Alpaca Boucle, single-stranded. I think somebody in the comment has said that, you know, like it kind of sticks to itself when you wash it. Maybe it was being too gentle when I was washing it, because I really didn't want it to like felt too much and shrink or whatever. So I hand washed it pretty like gently, and then I didn't find that the the stitches really filled in. I still felt like it was a looser, like drapier, light fabric overall when knit on. I'm pretty sure I knit on 5mm needles for the entire garment, except for the ribbing, of course. And I felt that it was still kind of like airy. So I would keep that in mind if you want something that's a little bit more dense feeling. It wasn't like, I mean, I have a picture of me wearing it. And I'm wearing this, actually, this shirt, turtleneck shirt underneath. And you can see the blue kind of like peek through, but it's not so much that like it's like completely like airy fabric see-through. So if you do want to knit something like it, I would actually suggest that you hold the boucle with maybe like fingering weight yarn, so that, and still knit on 5mm needles, so that it like really makes a denser, like more hard wearing fabric. Because I was thinking for like the intended purpose of the zipper sweater was like how I currently wear my zipper sweater. It's just kind of like something that you throw on if you get cold, like a fleece almost, you know, like you're not gonna like super baby it, whatever. But I feel like this one you might need to baby a little bit, which is, you know, which is her problem now. It's my friend's problem, so it's less on me. But if I did this again, and I wanted to achieve the original intended effect, I would probably hold it with another yarn. Does that make sense? Okay. Yeah, but I think it looks really nice on my friend. Like apparently it's like her color story or whatever, color seasons. So the pink looks really good on her skin tone, and I was like, nice. With the zipper facing and sewing in the zipper, now at this point I've done this twice, right? With boucle yarn especially, you're not going to be able to tell, like even if you do like a terrible job of sewing it in, sewing the zipper in, I mean. So I think that would be another point for why you would choose like a more fluffy fabric for the zipper sweater. However, even with like regular kind of like wool or whatever, it's not that hard. My tip would be like, maybe do make sure that you pin the zipper. I start by like pinning the zipper to one side with it closed, and then I start kind of like, I pin the, how do I explain this? When I go to pin the other side of the opening, I leave the zipper closed and I pin the top and bottom of the other side so that you're at least getting this like match and you're not getting like a lopsided zipper. And then you open the zipper and then you pin the rest of it. Does that make sense? I think if you don't want to pin it like that and you don't want to like prick yourself, another thing that could be nice is to just quickly baste the zipper in with a running stitch with like a contrasting thread so that you can remove it later. That also might be not a bad idea. But if the back and the front of the front of the sweater and the back facing, if you don't catch it both on the first go, I would say on the first try of like sewing the zipper in, like maybe focus on like how it looks from the outside. And then if you don't catch all the facings, then you just flip it and then you, instead of doing like, what I did was use a back stitch through the whole like front part, and then I flip it over, and then if I missed some spots, then I just go over it with like a whip stitch from the back so that you're not seeing it really from the front. This is terrible hand sewing skills. It looks like trash, but like honestly, you're not going to be able to tell. So that's kind of what I do to make sure that it's like, you know, pretty sturdy, but also like kind of looks okay. It's not the end of the world if it's a little bit crooked, you know? It's hand knit anyways. So that's what I do with the zipper sweater. It is kind of annoying, but it's not like super hard or anything, so give it a go. And then the next one that I gave away to a friend was the Aura top by Rose Knitwear. I knit this with various drops kid silk mohair colors. I was working on the body still, I think, but what I did like basically these past 2 weeks was finish the body and then knit the sleeves. I knit the rest of the sweater basically. The body is really easy because you knit in the round up, and then you separate front back. And then the front back is pretty much the same. The front is just a little bit different so that the neckline comes down a little bit. The sleeves, I believe in the pattern it tells you to knit the sleeves flat. I was not going to purl any more than I had to. So I knit the sleeve in the round with short tip circular needles. And I guess like a tip that I have is when you first start knitting the sleeve, I guess because of the smaller circumference and stuff, it can be kind of hard to get it going in the round. So what I did was I knit like 3 rows flat, and then I joined in the round, and then it was easier. Maybe you won't have this problem if you don't cast on as tightly as I do, but I feel like I cast on kind of tight, even with like long tail cast on or German twisted cast on. It's always a little hard to get it going. So that's what I did. I made sure that the sleeves were kind of like the same on either sleeve. So like the color striping is the same on both sleeves. And I think it turned out pretty good. Like this is not definitely like I had my doubts as I was knitting it. I was like, oh man, this kind of is looking a little clown. But I put it together. I put the sleeves on. I finished the construction of the sweater and I like put it on the hanger and I was like, that looks good. Like it doesn't look super handmade like I thought it would look like. It's like kitsch obviously, but it looks like intentional. I mean, there was intention. I intended it, but I think it turned out a lot better than I thought it would. So I'm happy about that. And my friend sent me a picture over wearing it and I thought it looks really good. So all in all, a successful gift giving time. And that's 2 out of 4 gift knits that I have knocked out for the Christmas deadline. So I'm feeling pretty good. I think the rest of it will be okay. maybe. And I do have some like other gift knits that I want to do, but those are like, I'm not going to see those people until like January probably, so I have a little bit more time to kind of like work on that. Work in progress. I am like kind of down to a couple work in progress projects. Two of them, like, I'm not gonna mention here because one is a Sophie scarf that Sophie shawl that I was working on, and then the other is a sock, and those are not really interesting, and I didn't really make a lot of progress on them, so I don't think it'll be useful for me to show that to you. The work in progress that I've made the most progress on is the other gift knit, the other big project gift knit. You're probably not going to be able to see anything, it's so dark. But this is the Ingrid sweater for my boyfriend, and I've made pretty significant progress on it. As you can see, I've joined the yoke or the body. So I finished the yoke portion, and now I'm working on the main body. And I finished the first rib section, and now I'm working on the double moss stitch section, and then it'll be mock cables, and then it will be bottom ribbing, so that'll be done at that point. And I think there's less section switches in the Ingrid man sweater than the Ingrid women's version, which is a plus for me. I really like working with this yarn. Too bad I don't think they sell this anymore. This is in Feisty Fibres, 100% Canadian wool in the colorway. I think Expanse is the colorway. I honestly don't know. I read the label a couple of times and I couldn't figure it out. This is covered in cat hair. That's another thing. But this is going really fast, and it's honestly kind of fun to knit because the section switches, like, I just keep working until the next section, so it kind of keeps me going in an engaged way. So yeah, I'm excited to finish this up. I think I definitely have enough yarn because I'm on my third ball right now, and I probably need to use this and maybe a little bit of, I don't know if I have enough yarn actually. I mean, I'm hoping I can finish the body with just this guy, but we'll see how it goes. This is off gauge, so I am knitting an extra small, but this is going to turn out more like a large. Therefore, I made the row repeats a little bit different. Like for this, I'm working off of vibes basically. This is not from any scientific, like any like math calculation. I did no math. This is just vibes only. I did once I finished the yoke to the, before I joined in the body, I blocked the sweater to see if like the armhole was big enough, and it was. And then I joined in the round because I think I said in the last episode I've made a couple of modifications in the double moss stitch section where I did like less repeats, basically knitted less rows, so that affected the length overall. And then I did the same here in this double rib section. I did about 4 less rows than was originally intended by the pattern. And I think I will do, I mean, I'll have to see, but I think I might do something similar with the double moss stitch section as well. And then the mock cable section, I did this on my own Ingrid sweater as well, but for the mock cables, the first section is just one vertical repeat of the pattern, but then the second mock cable section is like you have 3 repeats of the vertical pattern. Does that make sense? But then I only did 2 when I knit my Ingrid sweater, so I might do the same here, just so that I can keep the visual like balance and keep the length not too long, because I feel like when men's sweaters get kind of long where it like totally covers their butt, it looks kind of strange proportionally. So I like to keep it like just like this much past the waistline, this or this much past the waistline. So I got to do that. Keep that in mind. So we will be doing that, and then we'll work on sleeves, which I hope I have enough yarn. I don't know. We're really pushing it again. I don't know why I keep doing this. I should just buy enough yarn, but I never learned my lesson. Hubris. One thing about this yarn though is that I don't know if this is just like a thing with this yarn or if it's with like a lot of navy yarns or dark color yarns, but it's turning my like fingers and nails blue as I work on it. And when I dunked it in water, it bled a lot. So this is definitely going to need to, you know, go through the wash a little bit before I give it to my boyfriend, because heaven knows that he's going to wear this on top of like a white shirt or something, and it's going to bleed onto the white shirt. And I'm gonna... the next work in progress is this. I guess I also made no progress on this, so maybe it's not really worth showing this, but this is the fingerless gloves that I'm working on for my friend. This is based loosely off of the Duke City Mitts pattern. But I didn't even get to the finger divide or finger separation yet. So yeah, we'll just have to keep working on it and we'll see how it goes. Now that I've put it on, I feel like this might be kind of big, so I don't know. I'll have to see. Maybe I'll block this actually, like just take it out and see how it looks after it's been blocked, because my friend has pretty small hands. Like the circumference of the hand is the same as mine, but overall like her fingers and like her hand is smaller, like it's like about that much smaller. So I will just have to be careful that it's not going to fall off her hands, which is, you know, defeats the purpose of you having custom made gloves. So we will do that, and we'll see how that goes. And this is knit with Suri sock by LFG Fibres, I think. I really like this. I really like how this feels. I think I like Suri. I would like to knit more with it, especially now that I've like sworn myself off of Mohair. I didn't swear myself off of Mohair. It's just that like I don't love knitting with it a lot of times, and I'd like knitting that whole aura top. The end result looks really good, but knitting that just single strand Mohair just like was not a good experience, and that really put me off just using Mohair for a little bit. And I'm going to have to, you know, figure out some alternatives. So if you have any like kind of fluffier fibers that you like, or fluffier yarns that are fluffy by itself and are not a disaster to knit with, please leave suggestions, because I would be happy to hear about them. In the vein of that, this is kind of like my next work in progress. I say work in progress, but I only made the swatch. This is my swatch for the Minto sweater by Knitonomy, and I just did this like an hour ago, so it's still damp. This is knit with Holst Garn, Supersoft. Yeah, this big boy, Holst Garn, Supersoft, in the colorway I don't remember, but I got the wait. It says it on the bottom. Colorway Princess. And I got this for my birthday back in March of this year, and I'm using it just now. So this is, I really should not be asking for yarn or buying yarn until I have projects for it. 9 months just sitting in my closet. So I should not be asking for yarn until I am ready to use it. But I fully intended to knit the same thing back in March. I just didn't have time. And this is held together with, this is discontinued yarn, so you can't get it anymore, I'm sorry. But this is Purl Soho Coorie. This is 100% mohair, but this is mohair that's like not like traditional mohair, like that's got the silk core and it's like brushed and wrapped around that silk core. This is just mohair straight up that's spun into yarn. And I understand now why they don't do that, because this sucks to knit with. This is awful. Like, maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm just being a little bee about it, but this is, knitting this alone is awful. Knitting it together with another yarn, still not great, but it's better, because this yarn splits like crazy. And whenever I'm doing the cable sections, I have to really pay attention and make sure that I'm getting all the strands and I'm not splitting this yarn. So it's just like not the best knitting experience, but I've bought so many of these that I have to just like commit to it and just finish knitting. And I will do that. I will knit the whole Minto sweater with these two yarns, and they look really good once you put it together. It's just that it's not a great experience. This guy, Supersoft, Holst Garn Supersoft, I like it. It's not super soft. I don't know why the name is Supersoft, but once you wash it, it gets a lot better. And the cable, what do I have to say about the... I can't make any comments on the pattern itself right now because all I did is swatch. But the cables were not cabling until I got to the second repeat. So I'm glad I made this swatch to, you know, just blast out my mistakes onto this swatch. Because, like, what's happening here? I don't know. And I did block this because pre-blocking, I was like, oh my god, this sweater is gonna look like poo-poo. Like, it was so bad. Like, the cables look just so awful. And I'm not a great, like, I think there's a couple reasons for that, right? Like, one, I don't like using cable needles because I think they're very, like, unwieldy, having like 2 needles and working 3 needles and working at the same time. I don't know of it. So I do, like, I cable without cable needles for like the smaller stuff. So they don't look great. The tension, not awesome. But on top of that, this is like, this like cables twists 4 times kind of in like this way. You can kind of see it here. And that just like looks really bad with like my terrible tension before blocking. So I was kind of concerned that this entire sweater was going to be like that, but no. Like, you're like blocking magic. It really did help. But I will, you know, try and be a little bit more mindful. And these purl sections here, this stitch running up here is a lot looser. This knit stitch. That's just because my purl tension is not very good compared to my knit tension. And I knew that. That's just how I am. So, yeah. We'll be doing that. And I think once I get into it, it'll be a lot better. I had fun doing this little swatch, so I think the next, like, once I cast it on, it'll go. And this is on 5mm needles, which I think was ultimately the reason why I decided on the Minto versus the sweater number 15 by My Favorite Things Knitwear. Because sweater number 15, I think, is on 4mm, and I was like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to touch another, like, small needle project until I have to. Like, I want my results a little bit quicker. Like 5mm, great. 4.5, all right. 4, I'd rather not. 3.5, no, bro. No. So that's the Minto. And I say 3.5, no, because I've never, when the Petiteknit Agnete pattern came out, the brioche cardigan, I really was like, I'm not doing that. That's brioche, which I am not good at that. And on 3.5, I think, millimeter needles, or 3, your girl was not gonna do that. But then I thought about it in hot pink, like a very bright pink, and I feel like I kind of need to do it. But I'm like putting that off for next year, for spring, because I'm gonna give myself some time to really let that marinate and see if I actually want to do it, because I don't want to commit to buying the yarn and buying the pattern and doing all of that and then having it just rot in my work in progress pile forever, you know? So if you've knit that, let me know how it went. I think my main thing with brioche is that I just don't know how to correct brioche stitches. I don't know where in the brioche stitch I am. So it like makes it very difficult for me. And I'm going to have to make some modifications, I think, to that one, because I don't want to knit it to gauge. But maybe I should just knit it to gauge and bite the bullet. I don't know. So if you've knit that one, let me know how it went, and if you recommend it or not. Brioche. Ooh. I have a brioche pattern mitten that I was knitting, and that's been in limbo, and I can't correct it anymore because I don't know. I gotta start over because I don't know where I am. So that's why I haven't like committed to that. And I have so many other things that I want to knit. So I have one acquisition actually, and like I feel like at this point the no-buy is like end of the year. The no-buy is like kind of going out the window. Not necessarily because I didn't buy any yarn for a non-gift project, but whatever. So I finally got my hands on some barber cords. What are these? Yeah, barber cords. And I bought them in pink. I haven't used them yet, so I cannot say if I like them or not, but I was running out of like cables to put my stitches on, especially with the gift knits. So I followed a friend to Nitty City in Manhattan because because she was picking out Christmas gifts for her mom. Her mom started knitting, so I helped her pick out some yarn, which was fun. And I bought this because I apparently can't just leave without buying anything from a knitting store. So, and I think this will come in handy. So I bought it. Not much more to it. Although I heard that these you can buy like the cords and then just kind of make them yourself. Like they sell these cords at Home Depot or something. But, you know, support small business. I think that's it for this episode. December is the season for content, right? A lot of people do Vlogmas and things like that, but honestly, my life is going up in flames. So I probably will not be putting out a ton of content. And I don't know, like the end of the year is always stressful for me for some reason. It never feels like I am reveling in the holiday cheer. I feel a bit like Grinch always. Like it's just like just trying to manage the different schedules and stuff. It's like too much for my pea-sized brain to handle. So we'll see how much content we get out this month. But yeah, hope everybody's enjoying the weather, cold season, Christmas. And I will return hopefully next episode with more finished objects and new cast-ons that are for me. I will return to being I will return to only knitting for myself until I have to knit another gift. Okay, bye.